Oh my goodness, y'all. It is June. We are halfway through the year and super excited about grown-ass women in this particular conversation, which is about dating and the evolution of dating and your role of your friends in your dating life. What that looks like in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s and your 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s and all the things, right? So in this particular episode, you're going to hear the grown-ass women talk about how we have evolved in our friendships and in our dating lives, the lessons that we've learned, the things that we want to do, the ways that we want to continue to be in this particular phase in our life. So when you listen in, be sure to think about your own evolution. Who were you in your 20s and your 30s? Who are you about to be in your 40s and 50s? What is the role of friendship in that way? And you're going to hear from us and all the things that we have to say. You might see us do a little break here and there. We're going to drink a little bit here and there. We're going to laugh, but we're going to get deep in this conversation because friendships and dating actually matters, right? It's part of our life. It's part of our purpose. So listen in to these grown-ass women do our things, and let's make it work, baby. All right? Come on, join us. Oh my gosh, we are back together, y'all, in person. You know, these in-person recordings mean something different, right?
Yeah,
like,
so
I
better.
love our energy and how we feel. We be drinking a little bit on the virtual side, right? But in person, it's like a whole different dynamic. So we got to see what's up for season 3. You know what I'm saying? But here we are in June for Juneteenth, right? So you see us in our African-inspired garb, or in our Black Power work. You know what I'm saying? We out here doing the thing. So happy June, y'all.
Happy Juneteenth, ladies.
Happy
Clink,
June. And I wouldn't be me if I didn't say happy June to the gays. What's up, gays? Is it Pride Month? June, Pride Month. You know, Black Power we do in May, but you know, we got to do the regular thing with the people in June. You know what I'm saying?
For the culture.
So super excited, right? Like we had the homie, we just came back a couple months ago from Colombia for these birthdays.
Yes.
So a couple months ago to the Aries, shout out.
Happy
and
birthday,
Aries.
We love the Aries.
And then next month we got Jay coming in. We see you, baby.
We see y'all Leos, y'all.
Yes. Giving 40s realness with an S.
But lately we've been talking about like dating, right? Mm-hmm. Like dating and the role of friends in this dating process. And it's different, right? Y'all remember when we were like dating in our teens, right? And like it was all about our friends and then dates on the side, you know what I'm saying? And in our 20s, things kind of got a little bit more interesting and curious as we were figuring ourselves out. 30s, we started to get solid and shit. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like who are you really dating?
30s?
I mean,
I had started.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just check a little bit.
Well, I had them kids. You know what I mean? I couldn't play around who were around the kids and stuff, so I had to get a little solid earlier.
Things started getting a little real-er.
Yes.
Right? In your 30s.
And here we are in our 40s, right?
Yeah.
So I love for us to talk about what it looks like to be dating and the role of friendships in dating, right? And then maybe later we could talk about what that looks like in our 40s because it's different now, right? Like, what role do your friends actually play when you're dating right now? Do you bring your person around your friends? Do you not?
For sure.
When do you bring them around? You know, how much does their opinion matter? And it goes back to how much you trust your friends, right? Because some folks have bad friends and they'll sabotage your relationship in a heartbeat. But then some good, solid friends are like, okay, we can see this. We got vision.
They give you the
right. From behind the person back, right? I think we got personal experiences, right?
I also want to make sure we add in there too, once you start getting serious with that person that you're dating, how does it affect your friendships?
That's a good point. A good point. The prioritization, right? Because if you're working on marriage or want kids, that relationship might prioritize hanging out with your girls and having regular meetups. So that's a good point. Good point.
The problem that I have is that I know y'all, so I spend time with y'all all the time, and I totally forgot that we might have new audience members, and we didn't even introduce ourselves, right? Like they're probably like, "Who is the one with the hat on? Who got on the fly skirt? What's up with the onyx sweatshirt?" Yeah. And we know that loud one over there, right? So I'm talking about me.
Hello. My name is Jonai Carr. Or some of you might know me by Jonai Morse, but add the car on the end.
Come on, add the car. Vroom, vroom, baby.
Vroom, vroom.
Right. What infomercial
welcome to you all. I hope you enjoy this time with us. You know, they're over here clowning and hating on me right now. But get into this, okay?
Get
get into this phase, is what she's saying.
Oh gosh.
Okay, to the new people, that's Jonai. She putting on for you, but
Yeah,
you'll
that
figure her out in a
infomercial we
second,
just
right?
had. Yeah.
Like being all,
I buy.
yeah, right? Y'all go hear her. She funny, y'all. Go ahead, come on.
To the new people, I am Deana Diane Kennedy.
Come on,
Deana D.
Come on.
Yes, Deana D. Everyone knows me as D.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
But y'all can call her
like,
Deana.
Subscribe.
Yes, that part. Like and subscribe.
Like
Yes,
and
like
subscribe.
and subscribe. Good
Like
point.
and in fact, what we subscribing to? Kennedy Dean Coaching.
You can subscribe to Kennedy Dean Coaching, but we also want you to subscribe to Grown Ass Women
Come on,
under
Grown
Onyx
Ass
Therapy
Women.
Group.
Ow, ow.
You know, it's a whole lot here. Just get into the whole conglomerate.
I am Nikki. I am the Double divorcee.
I love that.
Consistently,
I love that.
I will always forever use that term. It just
Yes.
rolls off, and I
It
feel
rolls
like
off what?
The
the
tongue.
tip. We'll get there. We'll get to the tip.
Soundbite.
We'll get to the tip before going all the way in.
Tip first.
I don't know what they're laughing at, ladies and gentlemen. So, but yes, the Double divorcee. I feel like this establishes some sort of either credibility or insanity.
Okay.
It's either of the two, but a great perspective, and definitely like and subscribe to the Grown Ass Women.
I'm loving your ring, Nick. That thing is
Thank
great.
you. And you know, this is my mother finally gave it to me. It's for those that can't see it. It's the Tiffany's gold mesh ring.
Oh, beautiful.
And we won't say more until they're a sponsor, but we'll leave it there.
Soundbite.
Tiffany's and
Oh,
your
you
men
know
that
what?
are on this show, they need to
Okay.
sponsor.
Right.
Listen.
And we didn't talk about what we're wearing today.
Yeah.
So I'll pick that up. So June being Juneteenth, right? I wanted to, of course, Black mental health is what I'm promoting. Onyx Therapy Group.
on, baby.
Clink, clink,
Clink,
clink.
clink.
So, and the red lip gives you the red. You're welcome.
Yes, I love it. You giving us red, black, and green. D and Jonai, y'all want to tell us about y'all beautiful Juneteenth outfits as well?
I'll go. This is a beautiful handcrafted African skirt,
Yes,
cage
beautiful.
skirt with a little.
Oh, beginning. Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's
I
giving you a little leg.
I saw little thigh meat
Yeah, I
just
saw
now.
little-
Oh, don't mind the thigh meat.
No, we
Yes,
want the
yes,
thigh
yes.
meat,
We like
baby.
it. We like it.
Ain't nothing wrong with no thigh meat.
Yes, going back to our heritage and symbolizing from whence we came.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And I am giving Harriet Tubman realness. We out.
Out.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm also wearing earrings by 518 Birchwood.
Yes.
Instagram them. They do a lot of handcrafted wood items and a lot more. And then I
Black
have
women
one-
owned.
Black women owned. Black
right.
veteran owned
That's right.
business.
That's right.
And then I have on my little beret here, courtesy of my wife. When I walked out the house this morning, she said, "Do you have anything of mine in your bag?" I said, "Actually, yes." And I think we talked about it.
There you go.
Yes,
Smirk.
love it.
And we out. And we out.
And we
we
out.
out.
And we out. And of course, I am Dr. LaNail Plummer. I'm the CEO of Onyx Therapy Group and excited to be with you guys always. I am wearing my kente cloth inspired outfit from a Black owned company called Deana, and it is a short set. Why? Because my legs are my best feature. Let's get into this combo, y'all. So tell us, tell the audience, how has dating and your role of friends evolved in your dating process? Like, what was it like in your 20s, your 30s, and now that you're in your 40s? What's the evolution like? What do you think the purpose of friends are in your dating relationships?
I think in my 20s, it was so different than in my late 30s. In my 20s, there was a bunch of couples, we would just all hang out. Everybody was down for whatever, wild stuff.
Yeah, yo.
Everybody, 8 couples spending the night.
we was friends in the 20s, so I know that.
It'd be like 8 to 10 couples spending the night at one person's house. But like just staying over, right? Whatever happens when you stay over, right?
Yeah.
All the things. And then waking up in the morning, everybody putting in like $20 and cooking out, like
That's
keeping the
right.
weekend
That's
going.
right.
Like the
That's
whole
right.
weekend was dedicated to, you, your boo, your friends, and their boos.
Yeah.
Like
But
that's
how
what
much
we did.
weight? But how much weight did their opinion have in your 20s?
As far as opinion, all of it. Like their opinion mattered.
Yeah.
You can't gel. Then it can't work.
because you can't gel. Like we all we do
And
is
it would
hang
be
out.
awkward
so,
as hell, right? Like you dating somebody that
Awkward
your
as
friends
hell.
don't like, and
Yeah,
it's like,
that
can we
sucks.
go over? Can we do the sleepover? Are you gonna put your? Do you have a $20 to put in? Because in our 20s, we all
we
had
might be
$20.
broke.
You know,
Don't
maybe
know
you
where
had
it's coming
$15
from.
and 32 cents. You know what I'm saying? Is that enough? Do I carry you? But yeah, I agree. In those 20s, it was a lot. Yeah, go D.
So are we saying that it meant more for you in your 20s than it does now?
No,
The weight
no,
of your
no. That
friends?
was just the start. So I'm just,
Okay.
and then I guess we can get to the, the evolution. But in the beginning, it mattered because you had to be around. Like we all were around each other.
Communal.
Yeah, and my life was your life.
That's
like I didn't
right.
have all my other miscellaneous things. Like
That's
my
right.
job wasn't super important.
Yeah.
I would call out in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So I could hang out one more day or
Yeah.
Because you lived life mostly with your friends
With your
at that
friends.
point. Like
That's
it wasn't
it.
about work or organizations or hobbies
Correct.
or whatever. It was like
Correct.
you and your friends. You know what I'm saying?
And some of the friends were living together still.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was life. Literally. You, whatever boo you had at the moment, and your friends. And if
Yeah.
your boo didn't work out with the friends, then it was time to move on.
So let's get controversial for a second, right?
Yeah.
Because the difference between in your 20s, what if one of your friends are like, hey, I saw your boo and it's an issue, right? Like I saw them out or they're talking to somebody else. Because I feel like in your 20s, that popped up a lot.
Oh my God, yeah.
That popped up
Yeah.
a lot. Like I saw your man, woman, whomever talking to somebody else at the club,
Yeah.
or was out somewhere.
I think
versus
in your
now.
I think in your 20s is also when people were being a little messy with your
yeah.
partners too, right? Like people going after each other's
In
partners
group,
and
yeah.
stuff like that as well. What was your question though, Nick?
No,
I
but it was
apologize.
the difference. No, I mean, but that's the point, right? Like the difference between your 20s, if one of your friends comes and says that, versus in your 40s, if one of my friends, because now we tighten up on the definition of a friend,
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, right.
comes to me and says that, it's a totally different weight
Yeah.
to what they're saying to me. Where the 20s, you might be able to, okay, whatever, pass it off. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. But now it's like, it's going to eat at you because you know that they wouldn't even say that to you if it didn't happen. So it's almost like the messy can still happen, but does the weight
Are you saying
shift?
that in your 20s, your people were like saying that they saw your partner out and they didn't actually see your partner out?
No, meaning, let's say they did.
Okay.
Right? Like, let's say they really did. What's the likelihood of how you respond, or the difference in how you respond in your 20s versus how you respond to it in your 40s?
Yeah.
So is it that the behaviors change or your relationships and how you define them change?
I think it's you as what probably the only introvert here today. I've always kept missing you, Ayana. Missing you, Ayana.
Look around.
Don't be fooled.
First of all, let me say we miss you, Ayana.
Yes.
We miss you, Dr. Malone.
Dr. Malone.
Dr.
Cheers
Malone.
to Dr. Malone.
Yes.
We do miss her.
As the only introvert here today, I've always kept a very small circle. So the weight of what my friends have said about the people that I was dating was always heavy.
Yeah.
Now, as an adult, I realize that what works for me may not work for my friends, and I have a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
My gatekeeper happens to be Dr. Plummer's wife.
Shout out to that woman.
Shout out to that woman.
Hey, man.
Hey, Meg.
I often joke, and someone pulled me to the side the other day and was like, "Are you serious? Like Megan's your gatekeeper?" Absolutely.
It's that-
because
yeah.
I mean, I see how she treats her wife and how she treats me, and for any guy to come to me, they gotta go through Megan. Like they just have to. You have to see Megan.
And Megan's gonna keep
gotta
it
be
real,
vetted.
right?
And Megan is gonna keep it
Megan is
real.
not gonna sugarcoat it, right? Like we
Not
had
at
some
all.
situations and Megan was like,
We were literally at the house, brought a guy over. Well, we've been dating for a couple months. I've been talking about him. Brought him over to the house just to chit chat. He went to the bathroom, y'all. And Megan was like, nah, D. Nah, he gotta go. I'm not feeling him. And I was like, for real? She was like, nah, he ain't for you.
But she was right.
And she was
She was
right.
right.
She
She
was
was
right.
right.
Because your friends see you from a different lens
Yeah.
than you see yourself. And they can often catch things that they they know will be an issue later on because they see the person holistically and not under that, what we call it, the rose-colored glasses of, not love, but you like really like the person and want to be with them.
And they see us differently, right? Like you all see me differently than maybe sometimes I see myself. If I'm dating somebody and I have like this filter of insecurity that's going on, you guys will be like, what is happening? Right. What does this person bring into your life? Like, is this person feeling something that is actually an issue or feeling something that's an emotional issue that you have to work on, whatever the case may be? And in that situation, D, we see the fullness of who you are and we see where you want to go in life. And is this person going to be able to travel that journey with you? He may be a good person for who you are right now, but who you plan to be and who you told us you're going to be and who we see you're going to be and who we continue to pray that you're going to be, he can't ride that journey. So you could date him and you can marry him right now, right? But in 5 years, then we got to call you the single divorcee. You know what I'm saying?
Single
because you are trademarked the double.
I love
divorce
it. I need to get a shirt
We're gonna
made.
put them papers in before this airs. You know what I'm saying? Nobody gonna trademark.
But you made a good point. Real world example like D is, you and I had a conversation about an individual. And I remember you saying, I'm concerned for you.
Yeah.
Or you're not showing, like you just don't show up.
Yeah.
The same. And that's a big deal, right? To your point, like we see each other differently.
Yeah.
So when you see someone, it's not that you can't be softer or you can't be, catering or whatever it is. But when you as a person, like your energy's off, something is imbalanced.
To that point, I think when we see each other with our partners, we get to see a side that we don't necessarily always see.
Yeah.
That catering side. I remember I was a young girl. My aunt had gotten married. My aunt is the, bravado, I ain't doing it, black girl experience in my life. When she got married, she stopped working. Just that worked for their situation. Yeah. And I came home and she was like, oh, I got to cook this food because he coming home. And I'm looking at her like, girl, what we doing here? Yeah. And she's like hustling to get food cooked and dinner on the table for her husband. Up until that point, I had never seen that side of her. And in my mind, I was like, ew. Yeah. But it's a part of life. It's a part of life that as black women, we don't always show each other. You're going to cater to your partner and it's okay. And we need to see more of that. So we don't look at it like it's degrading your independence or who you are as a strong black woman. It's a part of life. Yeah. So it is a shock when we see people who we view as being independent and like self-sustaining and not subservient.
Yeah. It goes
in
back
those
to,
roles.
It goes back to that idea of like submission, right? Yes. Like, and what that looks like. And what I think about that also is that when you've been friends with somebody, you get to see the fullness of who they are in different situations and circumstances and also are able to say like, oh yes, this person will support you or they won't. They'll take advantage of that submission or they won't, right? Or they are going to support whoever you decide to show yourself as in public, as well as who you are in private. And I think sometimes it takes a friend who's objective and loving to do that. But every friend can't do that. That's true. Then it goes to this idea of who do you identify as your friend in order to bring your new person around? They can't go around everybody, right? Because some people, they have their own demons that they're challenging with, and they see you and you look in love and all these things, and then they sabotage you too, right? Yeah. So I guess the other question is, while we didn't get to talk about the evolution piece for a bit, how do you identify which friends to bring your new boo around? And then how much weight does that person have in this new relationship and development? Because it's not going to be everybody. Yeah, but that goes back to you kind of evolving as a person, right? Yeah. And there's trust, right? That's a huge thing. It's trusting your partner and trusting your friends and your relationship, because you have to trust no matter who you bring your partner around, they're going to, keep it 100, be real, no issues, no drama, and that your friends are really your friends. So you have that trust in your relationship to show that vulnerable, softer side maybe, or harder, depending upon, what you like.
For oh gosh.
Either way.
I think for me, in the beginning of my current relationship, at the time, we were doing a lot at your house. We were always at the Plummer Marcanos.
Yeah.
And so that was easy for me. I think when I was sure, that's part of it too. When I'm sure of it, and we are as a unit sure of it, then so there's talk, of course. Everybody heard or whatever, but actually met was different. And so when we were like, okay, we're actually doing this, cool. So then it's, I think the first outing with everybody, whoever everybody is, was at y'all's house. Those y'all were my people. Yeah. So it was easy.
Past tense?
No. I'm just saying at that time.
Yeah.
Currently, y'all are still my people.
Right. Yeah.
But in that moment, it was a natural, ease into situation. So,
and that word piece stood out for me only because, like you mentioned earlier when we first started the conversation, at some point your friendships might change as you get into a solidified relationship, right? Like,
because
this
you
is my
also
person.
change.
Yeah. I don't think I changed that much though. You remember us having that conversation and I was like, I didn't change. And you were like, you know what? You didn't change. And that's interesting. But I respect that people do change, right? Because your interests have to change, your time changes, your hobby change.
I don't feel like in my relationship that I've changed.
I don't know if change is the right word. Maybe there are adjustments,
compromises or adjustments.
I think there's just a highlight to a different part of who you are.
Yeah.
Which is why I choose the friends who get the most holistic view of me.
Yeah.
Like some friends only get this segment of me and they know me in this small space. Yeah. But there's some friends, you all.
Yeah.
Who get the whole Deana. You get the Charlotte, you get the Aries, you get
the girth and
the girth and the width. You get it all.
And the Baltimore.
And the curve and the Baltimore.
Left or right.
And you love and accept me for all of that. So when you're looking at my mate, you see all of me and how it applies to who they're showing themselves to be. And so you have a more holistic picture. Whereas there are certain friends who only get the work you or the party you, and they don't see how you cooking and cleaning and making breakfast and all the things. And so there's a discrepancy. So like pick the friends that, have the most holistic view of who you are as a person.
Bring them around. But isn't that, I keep kind of leaning on this whole trust thing because Jonai, as you were talking about bringing someone around, let's say your friends do object or don't buy in right away, right? And you still date. That means you have to, in a perfect world, trust yourself to know, okay, they don't see what I see, right? But I know this may not work for my friends, but this works for me. So we're just going to give it some time and maybe...
Which goes back to self-awareness, right? But if... I don't know. Let's be interesting with it, right? So if you choose to date somebody, you have to be completely, if you choose to date somebody and exclude what your friends say, you have to be so self-aware that your friends' objectives don't matter. And how am I trying to say this? More so like, are you fully aware of who you are and why you're dating this person and what this person brings to the table? And can they move with you? If you exclude your friends, it gets a little bit messy, in my opinion. But I remember when I first started dating Megs, it wasn't that I ever introduced Megan to Jonai. Jonai knew Megan from the very moment. And she was like, oh, this is who my friend is interested in. Let me do this background. Because Jonai had more... she had a different standing in the community, so she could find out information rather quickly and make the connection fast. And that's how we met. But when me and Meg started spending time together, I cared. Like, what are you thinking? What do you believe? How does this matter to you? Because she knew me from a different lens that Megs would not know me from, right? And she knew Megs. She could find out information about Megs too. The point that I'm making is that if you don't include your friends, you have to be so self-aware that you realize that you're not operating from like filters and distortions and things like that. And I don't think that most of us operate from that way. I think that when we meet somebody and we're dating, they fulfill a particular deficit in our life. And we just want that filled so fast that we like throw into everything else.
You're right. Real world example, of it's not I hate this person, but I don't think this is the right fit, or it might start with they're different.
Yeah.
Oh, they're the opposite of you. And so it was never because I've always been that person where you can tell me not to do something, but if I really just want to do it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's not that I didn't hear it or take it in.
Except when you go through suffering, it's your friends that...
So now it's different. It's very different, because if I would have paused and really listened, not just heard it, but listen, like let it sit, let it process, look at it differently.
Considered and contemplated.
Right. Considered, contemplated. But the one thing I will say is that having been divorced before, there was this mentality of, if it doesn't work, I can get out of it.
Oh, yeah. That's a new perspective. You know, Nikki, that's interesting because, I'm going to come back to that.
Yeah.
I saw you, D, and sometimes we be like talking, right? So I'm coming back to that.
How well do your friends know you determines, whether or not you take their opinion of this lover, this new person in your life.
Yes, lover. Lover. I love that word.
As the truth. I typically pick people who know me very well and who know the parts of me that I may hide from the rest of, the world, to balance, who I'm selecting for myself, or just give me their opinion. And you also have to be, you said something about community. I know that the way that you meant the word community, but the way that I'm interpreting the word community to now is most of the people that we date are in our community in some facet. Like you might know them, you might know them, you might know them, and we can find out their history and we get all this knowledge in our 40s.
Yeah.
So we're less likely to be involved with someone who no one has background on.
Shock value.
Right. Nobody's got background on this person. They're outside of our community. We don't know anything about their past.
True.
So somebody has some type of 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever that is, relationship with the person that we're dating. And we have this intel that we're just kind of matching against who we see them to be.
True.
And that really works to get the person in your circle or get them accepted in your community. So, we're heavily built on community now.
Which is that 40 part.
Yeah.
Because in your 20s, you might be dating somebody that nobody knows, right?
You're building community in your 20s.
Right.
In
And
your 40s,
community is rooted in the word commune, which is rooted in a spiritual connection, right? Like community is supposed to be spiritual.
I read books.
I do read a little bit. I read a little bit.
I pop out and like break the whole grammatical.
Because we use the word community. Because we use the word community all the time, right? And people use the word community, and it's like, are you using it properly? Is it just a whole bunch of people together? Because that's not community. But community is about communing in a spiritual kind of way, seeing each other and connecting in an intimate kind of way. That is what community is. It's not living next door to somebody or like sharing a space with somebody. That's not community.
It's with purpose.
So and it's ordained. It's spiritually ordained. Like you find your people that you connect with. And sometimes, have you guys ever been in community and you're like, I don't know what I am attracted to in this person, but it is this person. And it is because it is God created, right?
That's how it was when we met. Like, it was just a random. Well,
So
I also liked how she hugged the shady bitch. So I was like, I like her.
Oh.
Yeah.
But when I think of community, I often think of something, and this is T.D. Jake's sermon. He talked about how blood cells are connected, drawn to each other. Blood cells of like kind are drawn to each other.
Blood test.
The same way, and you don't know why you're drawn. You're just drawn. The same way that people of the same community are drawn to each other. You might not know why. You can't explain it. Can't put your finger on it. But I like you.
Yeah.
You know how we be like, oh, that's my cousin in my head, my auntie in my head. Because you have the same innate makeup that draws you to that person. And then when you get in community, you figure out like why I'm drawn to you, what part of your personality clicks with my personality and my being. And it's the same with finding your mate. Like you gotta have that same natural draw into the space, because when you marry somebody, you marry their family, you marry their friends. Because guess what? We about to hang out with my people.
Yeah.
If you can't be cool, kicking it at, all of these women's houses and being comfortable, we probably can't date.
Yeah.
It's also like
It's not going to work out.
Once you figure out why you are connected, then you got to figure out, does it serve me? Like,
Yes.
does it actually serve
is this
me?
a trauma bond
Yeah.
or is it
Well,
something
that's a good
that's,
one.
pure and loving and truly spiritual in those kind of ways? Which again goes back to my point that you have to involve your friends in your dating situation, because we all have these emotional wounds and we have these deficits that we are not aware of, that we don't necessarily see, but we also have this potential that we also don't see. So just like there's parts of us that we don't see that's negative, there's parts of us that we don't see that's positive either. Mm-hmm. And our friends see it. And that part of the reason that they see it is because that's what is attractive to them. I think, Jay, you brought up a good point in the middle, in the intermission, if you will. Hygiene intermission, right?
Yes.
Of that in our 20s, maybe we were toxic. And so even our friends were toxic and our perceptions were toxic and the way we saw life wasn't pure. And maybe that matters also in terms of like when we marry in our 20s and then we don't. So wait, Nick. Go, Jay.
I was just going back to
patty cake.
I was going back to, trying to syncing with your friends and getting their opinions when you're in your 20s or whatever. And something was brought up about, what if you saw your friend, your friend saw your person out, now what do you do? But I think we were already checking for that on our own because we were naturally toxic. And I can't speak for everybody else, but I think I was just a naturally toxic person. I always thought the worst. Like, what is this person doing? Especially if they were fine. It's just like, well, damn, like what, and there's insecurities in that too. Cause it's like, well, if they're fine, if I think they're fine, why are they with me?
That's that insecurity that we were
talking
talking
about. So
about.
that's an insecurity. And then also, I'm already on your heels, looking for stuff on my own.
But where does that come from, Jay? Like,
I don't know.
Where do we get these ideas? I have one idea, right? I remember being a youngin', and my mom, y'all listen to the other podcast, but she was like, never bring, because at the time she thought I only liked the men's, and so she was like, never bring your man around your friends because your friends are going to come for your man and your man is going to come for your friends. And that became my dating thought process. I knew she was crazy, right? So I was just like, when you have a mom that's like that, you're kind of like, do I take this for truth or do I not? But then I have one of my cousins that I absolutely adore and respect. Like that's my heart. And she also was like, when she got with her husband, she was like, I don't talk about all the details of my marriage with my friends and my family because they're going to want him. And what happens if he also like wants them? And she was in her 40s when she told me this. So I was like, oh, this is a whole thing where people don't talk in details about their relationships because they think like, oh, somebody's going to come for my person or my person's going to go for somebody else. And that becomes part of a conversation. So I think that there's times when we're toxic, but not just because that's who we naturally are, right? Like if we're naturally a glass half full person, we're generally optimistic. It's something that continues to take that water out of that glass that makes us start to perceive life negatively and start to perceive our person negatively, which becomes problematic because your person is like, I'm just trying to be here for you. I'm trying to like do the right thing, but you're on my toes. You're checking my phone. You're like questioning who I'm talking to. Like you're on me all the time. And that can end a relationship as well. So I think in that perspective, we have to also be mindful of like the messages we've been receiving in our childhood, in our early teens, in our 20s, in our 30s, as well as like, does that actually fit our personality? Does it fit our purpose? Does it fit like what we want in life? Because I know on the receiving end, I would be pissed if somebody was always like, who you talking to? Where you going? What's that like? I'd be like, that's your childhood shit. Like, don't put that on me. But it's real. Like we're socialized in those ways, especially as Black women.
I think as in your younger ages, we look at the body, we look at sexual activity, we look at the commonality amongst women or men, and we forget about the uniqueness that is you.
Yeah.
We
True.
we don't even know the uniqueness that is you at that point
In our 20s.
In our
Yeah.
20s.
Yeah.
So differentiating.
Yeah.
Drinking.
I've been drinking.
On an empty bladder.
I've been drinking.
Slow down.
Between my friends who have commonality between, you know, how we deal with the world and who I am uniquely, we don't realize that other people see that and that's what they love about us.
Yes, right.
So when you have a good friend, to your point, who may look like you, similar, may dress like you, have the same little bossy attitude and the same trajectory in life, you miss out on what is uniquely you and what your partner may like that is different from your friend group or your community. And that's where we get all this, oh, she looked like me, she breathed like me, why would he be interested in her or she or whoever it is? Well, no, there are things about you that are unique to you that person likes or is in love with. And that's what keeps them. That's what keeps them on board. Not because you got a fat ass and you got an M or an infinity.
Listen, you got an M, you got a W, you got an infinity booty. You know
You
what
got
I'm
a
saying?
little figure eight.
But
It's not that.
But that's interesting because at this stage, and I would say it was probably 30s and up for me, I felt like somebody that was interested in me is not going to be interested in one of my friends because, to your point, I feel like we're nothing alike.
Oh.
Like all of my friends and I, from a dating, even like just whether it's how we dress or physical or how we present or personality, I feel like personality, nobody is close enough to me. To your point, no one is close enough to me to draw in this person. Now, I mean, of course, they could like multiple variations, but my mentality, not necessarily my 20s, right? Yeah. But 30s and up, I would say was more of the guy that was head over heels adored me was not going to adore one of my friends because this is what's unique about me versus my friend might not be that way.
And when did that uniqueness happen? So you said not in your 20s.
Not in my 20s.
Not in your 30s.
It was probably in my 30s.
Yeah?
In my 30s. And honest, it's as simple as a grown man telling me that I had a lot of respect for him, was like, you know what? You could line up you and all your friends, and this guy's going to want you at the top. This guy's going to want this person at the top.
I do think that it is true that different people that you partner with are going to want different unique qualities, especially as they get older, because they have also matured and they've dated a lot of people, right? And there's certain things that don't matter to them, and they might like the uniqueness of who you are or something that they've never seen before in who you are. And I think that's true. Go ahead.
Oh God, when you said that and the tone that you said that made me think about
How sexy I am?
No, bitch.
Yeah. I love you. That's what it is.
And the legs
That's
are
it.
hot.
That's what it is.
But I'm not your wife. What I was thinking about is who you're gonna be. I think a lot now when we date people, we're looking at who. First question, third question, who are you trying to be in 5 years? I'm looking at who you want to be in 5 years, 10 years from now.
How are you growing, evolving?
How are you? At least your plan. At least your plan, because we don't get to see, but at least your plan and how that plays into what I want to do in my life.
That's right. Yeah.
And sometimes to our deficit, we look at potential.
Yeah.
And what people could be
and
what they would be. It is a whole other podcast. But I wanted to say it today because sometimes, even as young people, we looked at, he in nursing school.
Yeah.
That's my life. That's my real life. That's my real life. And this is
beyond
what
the
we
tip.
do. This is what we do. And this is what messes us up. We don't see today and tomorrow and how
True.
to get to that path. And it's even more complicated in your 40s because at your 40s, some of the stuff you talked about in your 20s need to have happened.
Yeah. Right.
You can't keep talking about what you wanted to happen in your 20s.
Tell me something, D.
Right.
Say it to my face.
Right.
Say it to my face.
Right.
When you decided what you wanted to be and committed to it, how far along are you?
Right.
And now I'm judging your past along with your potential.
That's right.
Versus when I'm 20, I'm like, oh, your potential.
It's only potential, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we've touched on it just a tad bit here and there, but what does that look like now when we're in our 40s, right? So we're we're looking at the statistics, right? And the statistics are saying that many Black women are single in their 40s, and primarily single in their 40s because they have pursued education or they have pursued like different careers, and they didn't necessarily prioritize a relationship or marriage or children or anything like that. So here we are in our 40s where we are the most educated group. We are one of the most financially substantial groups. We own our houses. We have stocks. We have real estate. We have the cars we want. We do the vacations that we want. And now we are prioritizing relationships, which means we're in our 40s and we're on the dating scene, right? And maybe we're on the apps, or maybe we're just at hotels. I was about to say one, but the hotels for the bars.
I was like, wait, what?
I was about to say one, but they didn't sponsor us.
Okay.
So I'm not talking about any hotel that didn't sponsor us.
We're looking for sponsorship, guys.
Sponsorship.
Right.
Hello. But we're not at the hotel rooms. We're at the hotel bars.
Yes,
and we're
gotcha.
networking and we're socializing. What role does your friends play when you're dating in your 40s? When you have solid friendships, you trust these people, you trust yourself, you have awareness, and you are dating. What's the role of friendship at that point?
I was like, is that our way out of the pod? That was such a like drop mic statement.
I want to hear what you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You got it.
Why are we running out of time?
It's high for me. I don't know yet. It's really high for me. Like my friends are the bar. They know me more than any other humans on this planet. They know what I want to do in life. They know most of the time where I came from in life, and they're able to see how you might fit into that, no matter how much I want to be with the person or how good they look to me. And they see signals and signs that I may not see because I want to be involved with this person.
Yeah.
So definitely with your own awareness and your own thought processes, I'm not saying just throw it over to your friends. But I was already, back to the conversation with Megan, I already had hesitations about this guy.
Yeah.
When we walked in the house, I said, he not for me. They were like, oh, let's see, D. He might be okay. 10 minutes in the house, and it was a no. And it's like confirmation. It's like confirmation of what I'm already feeling.
We generally know. I think we
I think
generally
so.
know, but we fight it. And I think as in our late 30s, 40s, or whatever, you generally have already established your core solid group of baddies, or
Come on, baddies.
I like to be considered a baddie.
And so I think that it's always taken into consideration. Whatever my friends have to say is always taken into consideration. I'm never like, you're tripping. Not ever.
Right, that's
Not
right.
ever.
That's right.
Now, it's up to me
Yeah.
to sit with it and figure it out. Now, there's sometimes where I'm just like, I don't have time to think about that. I'm just going to keep moving, whatever it is. But I think at this great age, we are always
golden girl.
Great.
Come on, at this great age.
We are always.
We're not
And she
even
the youngest,
midlife
right.
yet. I mean, technically we're considered we are, but we're Black women. We're living till our 90s.
It's a great age. It actually is a great age.
Yeah, it is a
it's
great
a great
age.
age. It's a great time in our lives where we are figuring things out and we are pressing on, moving forward, gathering all the intel so that we can be great. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that the groups that we have decided to interact with, we respect them for a reason.
That's right.
And so everything that you have to say to me matters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm always going to consider it.
Yeah. That's
Always.
Right.
And now it's up to me.
Yeah.
It's up to me to do something with it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something with the information, combine it with my own intellect and
Awareness.
awareness and figure it out. Something's going to come of it. I'm going to either move on or I'm going to figure out. I know that something is not right. And I'm going to take whatever you say into consideration and try to if I want to maintain this relationship or whatever for whatever reason, I'm going to try to balance it in some way.
Incorporate.
Can I give my
Incorporate
tip
it.
now?
Wait.
It's time. It's time.
You didn't even say nothing yet.
I'll make it quick. Is that okay?
Come on, Nikki.
You gonna
and
make
then
a
I'm gonna
tip
give my
quick?
tip.
Come on, quick
For
tip.
sake of time, I won't respond
Quick
to
tip
that.
in the bathroom.
And my drink is out.
No, I would say this.
That means it's time. It's
I will
in.
say this. I would absolutely listen to
the
my
hourglass.
friends this time if I would have listened to my friends differently, although maybe there could have been it was more watching and listening, because if I would have watched differently, I would have seen some things for myself.
Yeah.
I probably never would have gotten married the second time.
And if you didn't get married the second time, you wouldn't have us. So there is
Right, so I don't
there
believe
is
in
beauty.
fault.
Yeah.
Because I always say that I got you all out of that marriage. That was
yeah.
the joy. That was my birth
Yeah.
from the
I
marriage.
mean, everything happens for a reason. Everything that happens to you is some
Absolutely.
sort of lesson or blessing
Yep.
or whatever. So
So,
you ready for the tip?
am I
ready.
wrong?
Put the
when
tip
Is
in.
it Aristotle who said, "Know thyself"?
Child was one
First,
of them.
be
It was
first
one-
know
the verse
thyself.
to know thy own
Well,
self
I'm
be
gonna,
true. That's
yes,
a Bible
to thy own
verse.
self
To thy
be
own
true.
self
I'm
be
gonna
true.
remix that and say, know thy community,
Yeah.
because your community is a reflection of you,
Yes, that's
and
right.
they are a reflection
All
of the
right.
person
Come
you're
on,
gonna
Tiff.
choose, and they know. So
Come
know
on,
thy
Tiff.
community. You get to know yourself.
Yes.
That's
Come
my
on,
tip.
tip for the day.
Come on,
Look at
Tiff.
you. Come on, click.
You ain't just
it.
put the tip
told
in,
you
you
it
put the
was
whole
the-
thing
She
in.
thrived. She thrived in that one. Bring that.
It's deep. It got girth and
Okay.
width.
All the
You
way
just-
in.
It got
Curve. I
length
like the
and a curve
curve.
to the left, right?
You know what?
Come
There
on
was
to
there
the
was
tip.
integrity in that thrust. So I'm here for it.
and it was still with a kiss.
On the forehead. I like the forehead. Yes.
And
we
we
close-
out. But look, and we
So
out.
we closing out Juneteenth, right? We closing out June, and how powerful it is to consider the role of your friends in your dating life, right? Like it's not it. You know, this society tells us it's just you and that person. But if you come from a community, if you come from a commune of spirits that are rooting for you and cheering for you, then maybe there's room for them to be a part of that dating relationship too. People talk about like you marry into a family.
Must be.
But you marry into a friend group too. If that friend group is, like you said, a reflection of who you are and part of who you are, your friends have to be involved, right? The other piece of that, as we talk about in being grown-ass women and being a group of close friends, is that you have to trust and know your friends too, right? And so every friend should not be a part of your dating situation, but those close friends, those ones that you have a spiritual connection to, a ordained and purposeful connection to, those are the ones who should have a role in that dating life too, and not in the final decision, but just a bit of influence, just a bit of additional insight, just a bit of an additional consideration and contemplation and awareness for you to make the final decision. And know that when you're dating somebody, your friends are going to be there in those high moments, and baby, they're going to be there in those low moments too. You know what I'm saying? So let us close it out, right? Like we had our tip of the day. You guys, I mean, we're like bossy women. We got things going on in our lives. So if you guys have anything that you want to say on the end, then let's say that.
I do.
Yeah, go.
I just want to say, Dr. Ayana Malone,
Dr. Malone.
who is the 5th member of the Grown Ass Women.
Come on.
Yes.
We just want to say we love you and we miss you today.
baby.
And we will see you soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for
Amen.
sure.
Amen. Ashe and Ashe.
Amen. And
Yes,
Ashe.
yes. All the prayers up to Dr. Malone.
Yes.
I just want to say, you know, I love you, girl.
Yeah.
I cry at your dissertation defense, and I don't cry. Like there was real tears, and I'm still like messed up about it. I love you. All is well. You
Yeah.
said it, and we believe it. All is well. Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
And you know what? In your honor, Dr. Malone, I will say that I pray that everyone tips with integrity, and I know you would appreciate that.
Come on, 90 Day Fiance.
They covered
With
everything else,
integrity.
so I had to, you know.
And you know Yanni would appreciate that.
And I know
'cause
she would.
she a little Scorpio. You know, she got I can't, you know, she a Scorpio. She got the things, right? So shout out to the homie Yanni. Come back, baby. Like, you know, we miss you. Right?
Healthy,
like,
strong,
Be
all the
strong,
things.
healthy. And for those of you guys that are like, oh my God, what happened to Ayana? She's just not feeling well today, right? And when we are Black women and we don't feel well, we have to prioritize that, right? Like our society keeps telling us push through, be better, do more. And as a friend group, we are like, stay home and rest. Do what you need to do. Take care of yourself. And although your presence isn't here, that is a message for all of us. When you are not feeling well, well, take care of yourself. When your health is being compromised, prioritize that over anything else, because if you don't have the health, you can't do all the other things that you're purposed to do as well. So as we close out June, thank you so much for spending time with us in our Juneteenth inspired garb, representing the continent and our ancestors that came before us, representing our future when we think about Onyx Therapy Group and how we have taken that torch and continue to do the things that we do. Always shout out to my best friends. I love y'all always, right? Let us continue to be grown as women and do the thing. So we hope that you take this podcast and you think about it, right? Like that's what all of this is about, thinking about it and then taking it to your friend groups and having conversations with your friend groups in terms of what is their role in your dating life here in your 20s and 30s and 40s. And we know we got some 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s out there listening too. And we can't wait to be at your age group and all of the things too. So think about these conversations. How have you evolved? How have your friendships evolved? And what are the roles in those dating lives as well? And please continue to subscribe on all of the channels to Grown As Women. Share this information with other people too. And listen, baby, if you got a little bit of money you trying to sponsor, we here, baby. You know what I'm saying? We'll take that sponsorship and we'll make sure to shout you out, because we've been shouting out companies that don't.
Yes.
Don't share love.
You know what? Let me end with grace.
You should end with Harriet
Thank you.
Harriet Tubman said, "We out."
We out. Grown ass women, baby.